Hi, Don.
Morning, Jill. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. It's snowing.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Nothing much, but it's snowing.
Yeah. We're getting freezing rain. San Antonio, not much, but it's closing everything down. So
Yeah,
as you know, people around here just don't know how to live with
yeah.
winter weather.
Same here. We get the snow every year, but people are, get the Pikachu face like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? And they still think that they can
Pikachu
fly
face.
90 down the highway.
Yep. Where does that come from, right? It's just like, come on.
I have no idea.
Yep. Yeah, a friend of mine, coaching client, he was driving up to Dallas yesterday, and it's always worse up there. So, hey, Christine, good to see you. Hey, Dan, Rachel, good to meet you. I don't think I've met you before. I know I haven't met you before.
No, good morning. This is my first meeting.
Good deal. Great to have you.
Thank you.
So you
Morning,
and Matt
Don. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Dan. Good to see you. Look forward to catching up. It seemed like I missed this one last time. I'm not sure. Go back to my notes. No, I was here. In fact, I led it last time. That was the third. I think on the
Matt led
17th.
it last time.
Yeah, I think on the 17th I was doing something. I'm going to be doing more and more things as we try to make connections with different companies to try to work funding. So Rachel, did Matt tell you that you're going to have about 30 seconds to introduce yourself when we do wins and challenges at the end of that period?
Say that again?
We're going to give you a chance to introduce yourself. Did he tell you that?
No, he didn't.
Okay, so we'll give you, this will be about a 10-15 minute heads up. So 30 seconds, who you are, where you're at, what you're doing, what you hope to do in transition.
Okay.
Anything, just things like that. So no grades. We're not evaluating it.
Okay, good.
allows everybody to get to know you a little bit.
Okay.
So Christine, I'll shoot you a note on just to update for the that annual report you were working.
Okay, thanks, Don.
Okay, thank you. Just let us know if you need anything.
I appreciate that. I sent Matt a message on LinkedIn about that this morning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, keep me in the loop on that. I'm going to be your point of contact for the report.
Good morning, everybody. We're having Chicago weather today.
I'm surprised Matt doesn't have that knit cap on like Jill does this morning. I know. I think I should get one. I don't have much to keep that heat in.
Hey, Jill.
Brian.
Hi, Matt. I like your hat.
Thanks, Jill. Appreciate that.
Am I missing Rachel, Brian, Christine, Jill? All right, we got less than a minute here. We'll get started. Here's the big question of the day. Dark, milk, caramel, sea salt. Today is National Hot Chocolate Day. What's your favorites? Anybody not a hot chocolate person?
I'll have hot chocolate, but just with some marshmallows and a little bit of cinnamon nutmeg.
Oh, there you go. Is it milk chocolate or dark chocolate?
Milk chocolate.
Milk chocolate, okay. My wife found us some dark chocolate here at the local grocery store. It's their kind of K brand. I'm a dark chocolate guy. Go ahead, Jill.
I like peppermint, milk or dark.
Ooh, peppermint. That would be good. Anybody else? Hey, Matt, prep for the previous spotlight. I was not here last time. You led this one. So tell me what the previous spotlight was. Anybody else on dark chocolate, hot chocolate? Today is National Hot Chocolate Day. Guess what tomorrow is? National Dark Chocolate Day. We got 2 days we can enjoy chocolate and not feel guilty. Not that I ever feel guilty, but don't you think they should have no calories on National Dark Chocolate Day?
We didn't really have we didn't really have a spotlight. We talked
you
a
guys-
lot about, we did more of the sharing a couple of things. We talked a little bit about interviews. We talked a little bit about helping each other, but there was no like one thing like we've had in some of the other groups. So it was kind of
Okay.
unless somebody can tell me I'm wrong, which I'm often am.
Well, hey, does anybody else remember what topic we talked about last time since I was not here? Jill, go ahead.
Didn't we discuss life insurance policies?
Okay.
Mhm.
Was that from a cost or company or what perspective?
There was some, I can't remember who they are off the top of my head now. They were talking about how they feel that they should have looked into life insurance policies sooner rather than later,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that they didn't want to look into, or they didn't want the VGLI.
Yeah.
Options and timing. Okay.
Yeah, that was
That's-
last go around, wasn't it, Matt?
Yeah. It was one of the many things.
Okay. Okay.
It was like,
Well-
I kept notes here and I'm seeing, like you were talking, it was a whole bunch of different things, but nothing really. It was one of them. Thank you for reminding me, Jill.
Yeah. So Day, Joe, good to have you here.
Hey, how's it going, Don? Good morning,
Good.
everybody.
Did I say it right?
Yep, Day. Yep,
Day
Good.
Joe.
Day's fine. Yeah, I go by Cho as well.
Okay.
Might be a little bit easier.
And this is your first meeting, right? As well.
No, this was my second. This is my second
Second-
meeting. Yeah,
second meeting,
last one I
okay.
had with Matt and the rest of the group.
Okay. I was just
Recently.
saying I missed it last time, so I just tried
Yeah,
to
no
catch up.
problem.
I have to go back and try to listen to some of these older ones. Well, hey, great to have you. Let's get started. We were just talking today about today is National Hot Chocolate Day, and asking whether it's your favorite is milk or dark.
My favorite
you-
hot chocolate version is actually with Mexican chocolate. Here in
that's
San
good.
Antonio, if those that
Forgot
are
about that.
familiar, they have a couple different kinds. We use, trying to think, we use one called Ibarra, Mexican
Yeah.
hot chocolate. You mix that with milk and it's just wonderful.
Oh, yeah. Nice and spicy. Little spice, not too bad, right?
Not too bad. It's got cinnamon, mixed in there already.
Yeah.
So chocolate and cinnamon, it's real nice.
Yeah, we picked
H-E-B.
it up.
Yeah.
H-E-B. Yeah, if you don't know, H-E-B is our local grocery store from here south, and it is fantastic. So T Nash, good to have you. Catch me up on your first name.
Trudell.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay. And good morning. First time? Second time?
Second.
Second time. All right. Well, great to have you. So you guys have already done your intro. So Rachel will be the one that does our intro this morning. Oh, and Steve, I missed you coming in. Good to see you. Well, hey, what I want to touch on real quick on the past discussion from the last time is, the spot, we always go into the spotlight because that's the reason we do a mastermind. The mastermind is all about helping you advance your thinking, overcome limiting beliefs, get other people's opinions, get other people's ideas, whatever it might be, to help keep you advancing forward in your transition. So in the discussion last time, did anybody kind of get an aha moment or a little thing that said, hey, yeah, I can do that? And did you take action on it? I'm just going to open it up. We'll just talk for a couple minutes before we hit the education moment. Anybody have some good stuff from last time?
I actually have something good.
Okay.
As we were talking about somebody keeping track of, who they were talking to, when they were talking to them, what they had done, I looked at my own methods of how am I doing that? And I realized that I wasn't being consistent over different platforms when I was applying for different jobs. And so I'm going to try to standardize that process a little more.
Excellent. Any steps you've taken forward on that in the last 2 weeks? Like have you picked a CRM or something like that?
I haven't. I just thought I would make just note, I guess, of the different jobs on the different sites that I'm applying with, because I was using
Okay.
Zeddy, then I was using the Mom Project, working with the Sound Network. So, there's just different groups that I'm working with.
Okay.
And so to track all those applications, because I'm not hearing back on all of them. Some
Yeah.
of them I get a lot of negative responses, if anything, but few
Yeah.
interviews. Anyway, more later.
That's a great point. I mean, as you're going through your transition and you're sending out applications, I think as you're doing almost anything, right? If you're reaching out and you send a network connection note to somebody, put it in a spreadsheet, put it in a CRM, a customer relationship management database, put it in something where you can go back, because frankly, the LinkedIn messaging, it gets buried so quick and you can't tell what it was. So I think that's a great point, Christine. Thanks. Anybody else get something from last time? Don't feel shy.
I'll contribute.
Go ahead, Steve.
So one of the things or the thing that I said that everyone would need to hold me accountable for was to take a look at Brian's tracker and the email that he sent me about how he reaches out to LinkedIn contacts. He's got a script that he kind of goes off depending on the person. So I will say happily that I was able to accomplish that. And I looked at Brian's email and I realized one thing. And I know I see you there, Brian. That retirement tracker for guys like me or girls like me that are, still on active duty, that like checklist item thing. I have been looking for something like that for months. And that's one of the better things that I've seen out there. You could do a lot of good with that by, sending that out to people that are still on active duty. Just wanted to let you know that.
Can you share that with us, Brian? Maybe you can bring it up at some point. We'll show it out. I'll give you permission to show on screen.
Sure, yeah, I can't pull it up here on this, but I can get it in here after here. Sure, yeah, thanks. No problem, Steve.
So you can't do it during this session while you're on that computer?
Right, yeah, I'm on my phone, so I don't have it here.
Okay, perfect. Well, great. Thanks for sharing that, Steve. There are some different ones. I've seen a timeline one, but boy, it puts everything with, everything in transition, and it's almost overwhelming. But I've seen others who do kind of a spreadsheet, so it's kind of neat. All right, well, let's jump into the education moment. What I wanted to do is I wanted to share with you guys a webinar that I went to last week, and it was from Lori Norris. I don't know if you guys listen to Lessons Learned for Vets podcast, but Lori Norris does it. She just started her 3rd year this year. She is really a dynamo, and not just because Matt and I have both been featured on the podcast, but because I love the way she communicates about things. And she did a resume workshop. It's on youtube.com/@Sigma Forces. And I will, as soon as I'm done sharing, I will put that in the chat. But I wanted to have you guys, I wanted to give that to you guys. And I also posted it on our Military Transition Roundtable LinkedIn open page this morning, and I put it on our Slack channel. So for you new guys, we got to get you invited into the Slack. But so that's where a lot of our conversations are going on. But she does 2 really good things that I thought were worth mentioning. She talks in the summary. Don't tell them what you were, tell them where you're going. Too often our summary, because we call it a summary, we think we have to write all about us and everything we've done. And it gets to be 6, 7, 8 lines long, 10 lines long, and it doesn't communicate to the hiring authority or the recruiter where you're going. You want to talk in there about you want to be a project manager. It's kind of the old objective statement kind of pulling in there. We used to say, I'm looking for a position in this area, but we took the objective out. So in the summary, you got to pull that back in. I'm looking for a job in this area and I've got these qualifications, and the qualifications should focus in on the job that you're applying for. This needs to really be tailored every time, right? X number of years experience, degree, the certification, the skill sets, whatever it is that they're looking for, make sure that you're addressing that, because this is that valuable space, top of the resume, most valuable piece. In the newspaper jargon, like Matt, it's above the fold. You get that newspaper, and the whole purpose of you can't even see it, whole purpose of the newspaper above the fold, the top headline and stuff, top story, is to get you to turn inside to read more. Well, this summary is the thing to turn you to read the achievements down below. And then in the work experience, she kind of flipped the script a little bit. I thought, we've been talking about STAR bullets, situation, task, action, result. She follows RATS. I thought that was interesting. Results, action, task, situation. Just flips it, because too often when you start with situation, we get this long description and we lose the reader. But if you can flip that, put the results right up front, it makes a big difference. And she goes through in the presentation, taking 2 or 3 different kind of job description type bullets that she sees a lot and turning them into good RATS, action oriented, results oriented bullets. So it is power packed. Get your paper and pen ready, and or just, you know, copy every slide and go back. But that's what I did. And so I encourage you to go on there. Any thoughts, questions on those 2 areas? I'm going to take that and put it in the chat right now. Questions? Thoughts? Ads? Nope. Okay. Well, I think I thank Sigma. What is it? Sigma Forces for doing that for us, for everybody. There it is in the chat. So it is an hour long and it is packed. So be ready. You're going to want to go back to it, listen over and over again. All right, let's go to wins and challenges. So this is at the end of this, Rachel, is where you're going to get the opportunity to introduce yourself. So let's go to wins and challenges. I'm going to start with Jill.
So some wins for me is last meeting I said that I was going to sort my husband's electronic files, you know, and separate the ones from last year and this year and sort it by store and everything like that. It took me a couple days, but I did it.
All right.
So there's that, and we are remodeling again. We're turning our upstairs spare bedroom into our office. So we've got everything we need on order for that. So that's going to clear up some space downstairs so it's not so cluttered. And challenges. I haven't had any, you know, real challenges, you know, the past couple weeks. So that's, you know,
how's it going? Continue to work on your husband's business, get it set up with HR and finance and processes and documenting all those. Is that going well?
Yeah, it's going well. You know, there's been some learning curves here and there. Like I had to learn about, you know, 1099s, and I've never done that before, but you know, we sat down together and figured it out. So that's good. And you know, I was able to get W-2 sent out. So, you know, that was a learning process as well, but
sure,
it went really, really well. And everybody that needed their stuff has received it. So
that's even better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, good job. I just love the way you're learning so much with your husband's business that you're going to apply later.
Yes.
All right. Brian, I'm going to turn to you. Wins and challenges.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, good morning, everybody. So for wins, I wanted to get out kind of like a follow-up email to all my strong leads who I talked to over the previous year for future jobs coming this year. So I was able to do that. I got some good feedback. And then challenges, I was on a good roll getting out recommendations for about 3 or 4 weeks. I would try to do it every Monday, and then I just stopped doing it. So I got to get those back out. So start getting out recommendations to people who I worked for, who work for me, so I can also get some recommendations from them on the back end. So yeah.
That is excellent. I appreciate your intentionality on that. That
Sure.
is so good. How many people are really focused in on giving recommendations, not getting, like he's doing? Matt does. All right. Anybody else? I have to admit, I haven't done that as much. So I'm just, I'm going to take a note from what Brian just said of going back through some people I worked with and send some out. Because people will look at your LinkedIn, and when they say, wow, look at that, he's got 45 that he's received, but he's only sent out 2. Tells you a little bit about yourself, doesn't it? So that's a good point. Thanks, Brian. Dan, I'm going to come to you. Wins and challenges.
Good morning, everybody. Last time when we talked, I was having issues with getting SkillBridge. Folks working on linking the companies that I've been talking to up with the SkillBridge manager that I'm working with. And you know, you guys said, hey, do an introduction where you're talking. You send an email to both parties, and that was one of the things. The other one was the working through the spreadsheet that Steve and Brian were talking about earlier. So for wins I took that to heart. I actually sent an email to both the person in the company I was talking to and the manager. Now they're talking and working through things. So win on that one.
Congrats.
Also, thank you for Brian. Thanks for that spreadsheet. It's helping out a lot. I've adjusted it for me. But like Steve was saying, there's a ton of information in that. So that's a awesome product. Challenges right now, again, just trying to get resolution on figuring out my summer plans and figuring out what the transition is going to look like this year for me. So that's just the challenge right now.
All right. This may or may not resonate with Matt. As I'm looking at you, Dan, I see a coat on and I see this white little thing under your collar. It looks like you're a reverend or a priest.
No, it's a
just a
undershirt because it's cold.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're a little chilly here, but not as cold as you guys out in Kansas. You guys are
a little chilly. Yeah, that's understandable.
I saw after the game the other night it was going down to 0. Yeah. Hey, good to see you, Dan. Come around to Steve, then Christine.
Okay. Good morning to everybody. And so for wins, I would say that I had been having some issues over the last, I would say probably since early December of kind of keeping on track. I like to develop checklists for myself. And so I actually got a new notebook. It's called a Rocket Book. I haven't developed the capabilities fully, but from my understanding, there is a connection between an app I have called Evernote and this book where notes and sketches and whatever you put in it can actually go into that app so that I always have it. You can actually erase it, which is cool. It's like a never-ending notebook. Once you complete stuff, you can erase it and then you still have it. So found it at Walmart and I was pretty excited about that. Got my checklists, developed personal checklists, work checklists, and just some things that I had been thinking. So this has been a win, I think. For challenges, one more win too, and a shout out to Matt. We spent some time last week developing my LinkedIn, which was in bad need of some help. I was able to change my headline. I changed my background picture. I changed I added almost my entire work history. And so I'm happy about that, and I'm ready to move on to some more stuff within LinkedIn. But really appreciate Matt for his help there. That was a win for sure.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
I just want to say you're really an awesome student. Typical for a Marine, they take direction well. Kidding. But we still have more work to do. Okay.
No. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. And then challenges. Made the list, made several lists. I haven't gotten as much accomplished as I would have planned on doing. There was a distraction that I had to deal with last week up in Boston with my family friend group. So I was away from being able to action some of these things. So kind of getting reset in the right mindset and back to tackling some of these to-do items.
Excellent. I had just heard about the Rocket Book yesterday, so I'm anxious to learn. I haven't had a chance to jump off, but I heard it's a great capability. I'm anxious to hear how it works for you.
Yeah, no, I'll let you know.
Thanks. Christine, wins and challenges.
Well, I guess the win is I think I'm going to start a job really soon, either late this week or maybe next week in accounting. I've just resolved to get a job in accounting, and so I probably won't be with the group, too much longer, but I'll keep you guys posted. It's kind of exciting. I wanted to make more money and do data, but accounting is a safe bet at this time with the tech industries freezing off. And I'm just thankful I have the skills, and a lot of the data is becoming monetized. And accounting as a field is really changing, and it's kind of exciting. There's going to be some, back and forth. So there's that. And then I got accepted for a project called Omeda, and it's an AI project using natural language processing a local chapter in Cologne, Germany. So the project begins on February 4th. We're going to be using Airtable. It's a virtual workspace to communicate back and forth. And I believe it'll be UTC chat time, which is the time I think in Germany. So my meetings might be like in the middle of the night, but I'm so happy to be able to practice the German language again. I did take 2 years in college of it after I spent 2 years in Germany when I was in the military. So, and that was quite a while ago, but I still remember that. And I still, being able to write it and read it is, I always thought that would never come up again, but thank God it is. And it's cultural bias in the news feed on climate change in English and in German. So it's very exciting. Thank you.
What's
And
the
that's
program
it.
called again? Or the company?
Omeda project. I'll be posting on it on LinkedIn within the next day or two. And I was thinking about the hard mode challenge. It started yesterday. If you guys want to do it, Albert Bellamy is pretty much the head of it, and it will boost your LinkedIn profile like you would not believe. I've done it twice. I'm just really busy and with having to start this full-time job really soon. I just don't know if I'll have the time to do it all. So I've just been on the fence. So I might start it, might not. It'd be kind of cool to document just being in this challenge and working with AI, in this group like this. It's not that much a week. I told them 10 hours. I said, I'm just learning how to code in Python, which I am, but really I don't know that much. I knew enough to get the project though. It's the second one I applied for. So if first you don't succeed, try again.
There you go. Hey, congratulations. That's great news. Yeah. So let's just work with you. I mean, you can switch to a Thursday night group if that works for you, or we can put you in the alumni group. You just tell us and we'll go from
Thank
there.
you very much.
Yeah. I'll shoot you a note. We can go that way. Day, tell us what's happening. Wins and challenges. Or Joe, I'll go with you.
Good morning, everybody. I think I had a win, at least good progress. So last week I was busy getting ready for a job interview with the county here where I live, Bexar County, and each county has I believe it's mandatory for a certain amount of veterans that live, registered, I guess, residents in a county, a veteran claims service for VA claims. Anyway, this Military and Veterans Service Center exists here in Bexar County where I live, and there were some openings. So I had applied for the position, and this particular position is assisting with transitioning service members and families and employment. So I had a great interview with the director over an hour with both the director and the assistant director. So hopefully here's some good news in a couple of weeks. So I see that as a progress, right, and challenge as progress forward, and looking forward to some good news. So challenge-wise, I was not able to make much progress on my last session with Matt. I had some great pointers and guidance that I received, but unlike a great Marine that would follow orders right away and get things done, I'm an Air Force guy who's a little bit slow and I was not able to manage my time appropriately to get some progress made on my LinkedIn page. So that is my challenge for the upcoming period. Thank you.
Okay, good. Holding yourself accountable. I love that. I love it. And was it Terrell? Is that the name?
Yes, Turdell.
Turdell. Okay.
Yep, sounds like turtle.
There you go.
Wins and challenges. I think the first challenge I had that I'm having was just trying to define myself. So I'm transitioning active duty and Intel. Wanted to focus more on, everybody calls it cybersecurity, which is a big term, but just kind of more defining what I want to do within that career path. So what I've learned and sat down with the mentors is looking at my skills. And then the challenge was deciding how to apply those skills, which transitions into my win. It's kind of defining, these last 2 weeks, defining what I want to do and laying out that plan, because I have the skills. And so I've kind of laid out a strategy for how to just get the knowledge so that I can apply the skills that I have. And that's what I've been working on. And it's a lot of work, again, kind of going back to the challenges of defining it all. But I think I kind of start out the day like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. I kind of have a plan, but life is happening and things are coming in. So I'm just learning how to balance staying on track, meeting my deadline, and moving along to help me kind of get where I want to be. So challenge, figuring out what I wanted to do. The win is figuring it out. And now I'm just trying to balance actually moving ahead with the plan.
Excellent job. Excellent job. I kind of break this down into 3 parts, right? Figure out what you want to do, confirm it through your networking interviews and conversations, and then while you're making those connections, and then sell your value. And there's so many ways to sell your value. So good job. How many people have experienced the magic of LinkedIn with Matt Cheer? Yeah. Okay. Not too many people raising their hand, but I know some of you have. Dan has. All right. There's some good stuff there. Matt has a good way to say it all. So make sure if you haven't, take advantage of that. And like he said, the best thing that a coach can see is when they give you some advice and some ideas is that you take action on it. So love to see, even if you haven't been able to do it in the last couple of weeks, like Dave said, but he's focused on doing it. So good job. So Rachel, go ahead, Matt.
I was going to just say, it gives him great satisfaction to see people make progress like Steve and Brian have done, and everybody else. So yes, thank you.
Yeah. All right, Rachel, time for your intro. Again, 30 seconds, just a little bit about who you are, what you're doing, where you want to go, geography or job. What's the future hold for you as you're thinking, and timing?
So my name is Rachel, of course. I'm transitioning from the Air Force after 22 years. So I currently me and my daughter, we live in Bossier City, Louisiana. I was stationed at Barksdale. So I have about a month left on active duty. So I worked in the transportation industry. So I was like TMO, where we move people from place to place. So looking to continue my career in the transportation industry, because I would hate for 22 years to go to waste, but I really enjoy it. As I'm sitting back and listening to some of these conversations, I kind of wish I would have been introduced to this group earlier in my transition, because it seems like there's a lot of information, a lot of accountability where you keep people accountable and just, kind of keep you motivated. So, it's kind of good hearing the wins, and I kind of took some notes from some folks. So, so I'm pretty excited to be here.
Excellent. Well, great to have you. So here's the thing you can do. Don't let other people who are around you that are transitioning not hear about us.
Yes.
Yeah, pass that along.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any wins and challenges in your transition? I know you didn't have anything you were committed to 2 weeks ago, but any significant things you're working on or challenges?
So actually, one win that I can say is I actually got my first declined job offer, if that matters, like the rejection email. And it kind of felt good because it kind of let me know, okay, my resumes kind of made it somewhere. So it's kind of like a sense of relief. Challenge that I'm finding is being overwhelmed with my resume, with making sure it's perfect, trying to switch words, and so that it's kind of being overwhelming. But we'll take it one day by day.
There you go. Just like LinkedIn profile, I know Matt says this, your resume is never done. So it'll never be perfect. You're just constantly adjusting it. So Matt does a lot with resumes. He does a lot with LinkedIn. I do a lot with resumes. So if I can ever help you, shoot me a note, but I don't want to confuse it either. So depending on where you're at in that process.
We're like this, Rachel.
9 years with
Rachel, we're like this. Right hook, left undercut.
Okay? Oh, yes.
Yeah. I worked 9 years with Booz Allen, hired over 200 folks, saw thousands of resumes. So didn't tell you what communicates, what doesn't.
Okay, definitely. Thank you.
Well, great to have you. Great to have Joe and Turdell. Since I didn't see you last time, it's great to see everybody back. This is great. Hey, this is this time where we jump into Spotlight. Spotlight is a time where you guys get the opportunity to leverage the knowledge and experience of the people that are in your room. you're developing relationships with. So any thoughts, ideas, questions that you want to bring up, get their knowledge and advice?
Hey, Don. Hey, this is Chair. Just wanted to add a comment, I guess, to the group. For those that are able, if you are able to have a break or enjoy a break from your retirement or transition point to your next job, I would highly recommend it. I found out kind of the hard way in that I was so hung up on acquiring that, first job immediately after retirement or trying to right after succession with terminal leave that I didn't really give myself a break, and both mentally, physically, spiritually, all that. And I realized that once I charged very hard in my first civilian job with a lot of probably higher than reasonable expectations on myself to do well in the first job, along with the burdens of the job that I had, it exhausted me to the point where I resigned. And I shared that with you, both Matt and Don, in our individual sessions. Anyhow, I'd recommend that if you have an opportunity, if you have the luxury of time or the situation and finances, to take a break, give yourselves a few weeks, couple months, and I think it would really help to do that self-reflection and chart out a sound strategy as to kind of how you want to attack this transition, rather than just following other guidelines without giving yourself the time and the freedom.
I think that's such great advice. Anybody got any questions on that?
You know what I was going to say? Maybe we should talk about self-care during the job search today.
There you go. That's a good topic.
Good.
Yeah. What specific part of self-care? I mean, what kind of drives that for you, Christine? You're on mute. You fell on mute, Christine.
That you're focused on the job that you want when you apply, and that you have a tight shot group with the resumes that you're sending out. You're not just splattering them everywhere and hoping you're going to hit something, because you only need one job and you want that job to fit you. So you have to know, what is it that I'm looking for, and then what am I going to be able to get hired for? Because sometimes what you want is not what the employers want, or they're not going to hire you because of this or that. I found out the hard way in accounting, or in the job search, that all my experience is in accounting, and I've been out of the market for a while. So my best bet really is to get a job in accounting and then get another job in data analysis or AI, even though I know a lot about it and I can talk about it from like maybe an academic standpoint, or from like a psychological standpoint, that gap between human performance and machine performance. That's not enough for employers. They're looking for experience. They're looking for specific things, and we don't always know what that is. And during this time, you can feel very defeated. Like something's wrong with you, when in fact it's what they're looking for. And during this time, you shouldn't let all the negativity affect you.
Yeah. Is there a specific problem in there? Or you think it's a good thing that we talk about that for everybody's knowledge, right? Is that what you're thinking?
Well,
I didn't know because it's the piece of, do we dig a spotlight and go deep because you have a particular question, or is it more of a lean coffee topic where we're just going to talk about it because it'll probably help everybody? And I think it's more the latter, but you tell me.
I don't know, maybe we could find out what people are doing to kind of balance the stress of, looking for a job, in a way that, makes them feel good about the process.
Yeah. I just pulled 3 things out of that, and I think we could talk each one of them. Self-care, self-talk, which is part of self-care, but specific. And then the company needs piece of, how do you know what they're truly looking for? So we got 3 topics here. We could spend about 5 minutes on each, and we have the time. Is there another one? Otherwise, we'll kind of walk through 1, 2, 3.
That's more than enough, I think.
Yeah. Did anybody else have anything on their mind?
And Don, we've got about 15, 17 minutes. So 5 minutes.
Yep. Anybody else have one? Okay. If not, we'll go with those. I love that. So let's talk self-care. So normally what we do in a spotlight is we ask questions, then we give advice. But we're kind of moving off a spotlight. We're moving into what we call a lean coffee, where it's really just talking for 5 minutes each on each of those. So we're going to be structured in that you can answer the question. So the first question is what are you doing for self-care during this process? I'm just going to open it to the floor. What are you guys doing that has seemed to help? Steve, go ahead.
I have 3 children, 8, 6, and 4. They're all going to be turning different ages this upcoming summer. We got that nice little cluster. So we are going to be taking the first vacation ever that we've ever done with all 5 of us to Ireland. We're going to be going to Dublin for 2 days, and we're going to be going to the West Coast for 6, flying over. We have a budget, but we're very liberal with our budget, so it's exciting to be able to have that coming up and look forward to.
That's going to be fun. We went there a couple, 5, 6, 8 years ago. That's beautiful. Good job. Anybody else? Yeah. So taking some time off to unwind and focus on the family. That is golden. Anybody else? Jordell?
I would say I agree. Like right now where I've been, blessed, like my command has given me time off and allowed me to transition. And so, expectation though is that I'm working and I'm studying and I have a schedule and I stick to it, balancing home and life. And just took a day and said, you know what, today I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to spend time with my wife, with my kids, no books, no studying, nothing work related. And we just spent the day together as a family, and it was great and very like relieving. And then the next day when it was time to get back, I felt like a little bit of a recharge. I felt like a lot of weight kind of, even though I'm not, necessarily stressing out, but just that constant every day, all right, I got to get this done. I got to read this much. I got to do this many tests. When I went back into it, I felt a lot more positive about actually doing it. So again, just kind of metering it out and spreading it out and just saying, hey, this date, this time is just for me, either spend time with my family or just to do something for yourself.
Yeah, that's so good. Anybody else? That was so good. Both of them. I had a little bit different transition. My mom had a stroke in May and I had my ceremony in July, and my wife and I were planning on going camping up to Canada and all around and ending up in Texas, and all that got scrapped, and we went to Florida and we helped my mom and got her out of nursing home, and we were doing 3 a days, twice a day. So occupational, physical, and speech therapy, all 3 of them twice a day to get her back on her feet. And then we moved her. I redid the whole landscaping of the yard, got the roof redone, helped her pack to move to Houston to my brother's area. So, but that was kind of fun serving, but I didn't get the vacation piece that I realized later on. I should have figured out a way. I should have called back to Booz Allen and said, hey, I need to take another month because here's what happened. And it ends up as I didn't know it, but I would have had time. It was kind of slow the first couple months. Anybody else? Self-care is so important. Thanks, Christine. So I think the important part is to be thinking about yourself. The other thing I did while I was down in Florida, while my mom was sleeping and stuff, is I was thinking about, what do I want my life to look like? I just came out of it, just like all you guys. You come out of a fast-paced 6 to 6, 12, 14-hour days, 6 days a week, a lot of deployments, and you can quickly jump back into that same routine. And I started thinking about, I want to get back to the gym at 5 to 7. I want to get home at dinner at 5 o'clock. I want to spend a date night with my wife. I want to do those things. I want to get on vacations to see my kids. We talk in here about the wheel of life. And if you want to know more about it, we just talked about it a while ago, but I think we've had 3 or 4 new people. But you think about each area of your life and where you're at and where you want to be and what things you can take forward. And it helps you kind of, you're never in balance, but you can kind of work in harmony. Some important things. So any last thoughts on self-care before we move to self-talk? So I'm about ready to get the yellow card. I can feel the hook. All right, self-talk. How do you guys control your self-talk? This is talk inside your head that goes through your mind that influences where you spend your focus. How do you control it? I see Turdell smiling. I think he's at this topic, I think.
Yeah, it's and I can't speak for everybody. I just know for me, this whole process has been super stressful. You know, if you go on LinkedIn, you know, and I don't know, you see the horror stories, right? You hear one thing about, hey, you're a vet, it's so good to find jobs, and you can have all these opportunities. And then I'm seeing people melt down on LinkedIn, you know, about they can't find jobs and they're struggling and everything else. Um, and for me, things going wrong and just sitting down with folks and just being like, it's all right, things are gonna go wrong. It's all right, you know, you're talking through, you know, talking to my wife, um, praying about it that it's gonna work out, that it's gonna be okay for things to go wrong, but stay positive. No plan ever works the way it's supposed to, and that it's gonna work itself out. And I think that's the big thing of telling yourself things are gonna go wrong, things are gonna work out. Just stick with it and keep, you know, it's iterative. Got a plan, come back when it fails, come up with a new plan, and eventually it will work out for you. That's kind of the self-talk and the mindset I had to put myself into.
Oh, I love it. We've got to be telling ourselves the positive things. Your focus goes where your energy flows. If you talk negative stuff, you will start focusing in on the negative. You tell yourself positive stuff, you'll start focusing that way. Christine, self-talk.
Right. Um, self-talk is it's a psychological technique that they use in cognitive behavioral therapy, and I've been using it a lot. And I like to think that I can be my own best coach because I know myself the best, but I also can be somebody who could deceive myself as well. So, you know, creating that balance of just, you know, knowing, you know, when you're not being honest with yourself, you know, or when you might misperceive a situation. That's also there's something called the cognitive distortion of reality. That's another thing in psychology that, you know, you can look up. It's a technique, it's a term, you know, about, you know, how people can cognitively distort things because of their perceptions. Anyway, without going into too much detail, I think just when I get a note from an employer, you know, like from the Mom Project, and I know it's going to be a rejection letter, I just like, well, this is another one closer to the next job that I'll get. You know, you have to have so many no's before you can get a yes. You know, just trying to, you know, be hopeful that, you know, this job might not have been the one that, you know, I should have gotten anyway. And I just think that, you know, it's important to be your best advocate. You know, if you don't talk to yourself nice, then you're not going to have a good relationship with yourself, and it can just spiral out of negativity and really bring you down and create a lot of stress and anxiety. And so I really advocate self-talk.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I want to emphasize is be careful of who's around you. If you're watching the news, what are they talking about? They're talking about the layoffs here and the layoffs there and the economy problem and this and that, because that's the stories that sell, right? Are they talking about the number of companies that are hiring and how many great people got jobs and all that kind of stuff? Probably not, because it's not the story that sells right now. So be careful about what you're listening to. Be careful about the people around you. I've had some people around me that was, I'm going to be honest. My cousin comes over at Christmas Day and just she wanted to get a rile and get us going on, you know, the topic of COVID, the topic of vaccines, the topic of this and that. And I was just like, I'm not going down this road. I just don't, because she's very conservative. I'm not going down this road with you. You know, she got mad. She got pissed. It's like, I'm just not going to do it. You're not going to pull me down that road. So sometimes you have to put that barrier up. So yeah, Dan, and then Joe, and then we're going to move on to the next topic.
So for me, the biggest challenge right now, or the biggest obstacle in my head, is learning the technical side of the job I want to go into. I've got a lot of the soft skills, I got a lot of the management skills from the Army, but it's the technical stuff that recruiters and hiring managers are looking for, that are kind of things you got to know to get in.
Mhm.
And it's stuff that I'm not used to. A lot of computer languages, computer programming. So Christy and I understand learning Python. But and so it gets overwhelming on just trying to get through that. And I go back to stuff, the way we teach it in the military, where it's, take it one step at a time, break it down into little chunks, figure out those little chunks. And so that's the way I kind of talk to myself through some of it, and I'm working through it. So just trying to break it down into pieces.
Valuable stuff. Excellent. Joe, go ahead.
Yeah. So in addition to the progress I made with the job interview that I mentioned, this week also, I received another rejection email. I had applied for a position with San Antonio, with the city, a position within an area that I thought I would qualify for well, tailor my resume and so forth, but got the rejection letter. So the point is that this is, I think, close to my 50th or somewhere around there, rejection email message. So my recommendation for the group is just, this is part of the process. Just know it's going to happen quite a bit. Please do not get discouraged, and it's easier said than done, but don't take it personally. It's part of the process. And the best way to do, not to take it personally, is just to, again, kind of that self-talk, keep it positive. It's part of the process. You have to endure it. And to also help you is to connect with the other folks that are in the process, going through the job search process with you, keep each other motivated, push each other, and keep tabs on them. It's going to happen. So just sharing that point. Thank you.
Yeah, that's so good. One thing that we identified yesterday in our strategic offsite that we want to try to do this year is work more accountability between you guys. I think exactly what Joe is saying, right? Find some other people that you can call in this group and say, hey, can we hold each other accountable? So maybe you don't want to do it in the open group, but maybe you want to do it independently. That's fine. Maybe we try to work that. All right. Thanks, Joe. Let's move into company needs. What are you guys finding? Christine had a great piece, right? Or somebody did. It was, was that you, Steve? I can't remember, but it was about, the company has certain needs, and how do you find out what those company needs are so that you can tailor your resume, tailor your LinkedIn, etc. Thoughts? Rachel, you got a thought?
So that's kind of one of the things that I am struggling with is trying to correlate the two, because I see because the company's needs are pretty generic, right? So we need somebody to be, manage day-to-day operations for this, or, work in a fast-paced environment. So to me, it's kind of generic. So it's kind of hard to tailor your resume to that, and then, to get a hit for it. So I'd be interested to hear any feedback or anything from anybody on that aspect.
Yep. Brian, Joe, I don't know if you still have your hand up.
I do. I was going to just comment, Rachel, that one way that I found is that your network, you have multiple networks. We have this MTR network that we work with, and you can touch one-on-one. You also have other career readiness networks that I'm sure that you're a part of. I did SkillBridge, and so that's another larger network. And through that, you find out people who are in particular companies or who have already interviewed with certain companies. That way you can get a little bit more insight into what a company culture or what they are looking for. And the second piece is, I've also realized that I've got to connect a lot more with military recruiters within those companies. So at least for a lot of the larger companies, they have military specific veterans who are now military recruiters for that particular company. And I've come across them multiple times in job fairs, in virtual fairs, and so forth. So I connect with them because they're already part of the company, and I get their insight because they can also impart kind of what they've done as a veteran transitioning into that company. And they have now the insider information to provide you as to what the hiring managers may be looking for, and also what they can also offer you from their transition. So that's one way that I try to target them, rather than just doing a cold search on LinkedIn for recruiters for that company. Search out for the veterans that are part of that company, particularly military recruiters.
Yeah, so we have 4 more, and we've only got about 3 or 4 minutes, so keep them short and sweet. I think the big thing you were saying is One thing I want to warn is find the people that are in the company, right? Don't be careful of the dorm lawyer, the other military people who are hearing things and it becomes almost negative thought. They don't have a first hand. Find the people who have the first hand thought of what's happening in those companies. Jill.
What I was going to say is, something similar is do your due diligence, look into the company's, websites, their backgrounds, their financials, and, read business reviews on like Glassdoor or Google or whatever, website you want to go to, and do reach out to those folks that, work there, whether they're veteran or, they're just in the field that you're interested in, but just be mindful because a lot of these recruiters, play the companies off to be something that they're not. And it could very well be a wolf in sheep's clothing, so if something looks iffy to you, keep that in the back of your mind, because if it's triggering an internal thing, then it's something to question and consider.
Yeah, pay attention to the hair on the back of your neck, right? Yeah, it doesn't feel right. Yeah, that's a good point. Brian.
Yeah, I would just say, just to follow on Dave's point, is just to use those people in the company you're looking at, the military affiliated, to kind of get your foot in the door, and then always finish by asking them who you should talk to right in that business section you're looking at. Who do they trust? Just to get that ground truth from the actual work section, where somebody could be in logistics or operations, but you're looking at transportation, right? To try to parlay that conversation or connection into talking to somebody may not be military affiliated, somebody in that work section who you're applying to, is what I would say.
Yep. Great stuff. And Steve, wrap us up here. This will be the last one.
Rachel, I'm not at your point in the transition. I have to apply for jobs, but I've been in this group, and I've been in other groups or affiliated with other programs that talk about a lot of the stuff that everyone has already said. One thing that always comes up too is when you're looking online and you're looking at a job description or like the desired qualifications, you're going to get discouraged because a lot of them say, needs 7 years minimum of blank, or, some comments along that line that can be obviously pretty discouraging for us because we've been in the military for so long. So the guidance or the recommendations that I've always been given, a lot of them from recruiters or talent acquisition specialists, was don't necessarily think that you are disqualified just because you don't hit every single thing that gets listed. Like everyone else has just said, network your way into the company you want to work for. And what you want, the end state would be to have your network bring your resume directly to that recruiter or that hiring manager and say, this is the individual that we want. I've personally screened her and I want her on my team.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So I hate to cut it off, but we're going to have to cut it off to go into accountability. But that was great. There was so much good stuff. Hopefully, Rachel, you got a bunch of good stuff out of that. And what? One thing we want to do is ask you if we can send you an application to join our group now that you've attended. Hopefully, you see the value. Can we do that?
Yes, you can.
Perfect. Perfect. Look forward to having. I appreciate you guys jumping in and helping each other. So let's go to accountability. This is that thing, Rachel, where we're talking the next 2 weeks until our next meeting. What can we hold you accountable? No more than 1 to 2, and be specific. So Jill.
I am going to continue to try to get our upstairs office built, and keep my husband organized because the man is chaos.
Okay.
And yeah.
No.
What was it? Who said that? Was that Matt? Somebody said something. All right.
She sounds like my wife.
Okay. Joe, give us yours.
Yeah, just to hold me accountable, I'm going to work on the pieces that Matt and I talked about regarding updating my LinkedIn profile. That's going to be my accountability for the next period.
Yeah, it's a good one. Excellent. Steve.
Okay, so let's see. For accountability, I had it here. Give me 1 sec. Okay, so my accountability thing is going to be ensure that I download the HubSpot CRM, or at least I come to the next meeting with a CRM platform that I have worked on and that has contacts that I have built over the last couple of months.
Excellent. That's going to pay you huge benefits. Huge benefits. Turdell.
For me, it's just staying on my plan. I'm hopefully going to sit for my first exam next week. So that was the hardest part, putting the date down and sticking to that date. So that is where I'm at. So hopefully the next time that I show up, I will pass. I got my first certification, which is like the first step of my plan.
All right. Which certification?
Security Plus.
Sec Plus. All right. Good job. Way to go. Dan.
So from accountability for me, Matt, I made the adjustments on my LinkedIn profile that you and I talked about, but much like Day, I'm going to reach back out to you and work on the next batch or next set to improve my LinkedIn profile.
Excellent. Good deal. And Christine.
I'm just going to continue to send out at least 5 resumes to jobs that I really want, that are really tailored, along with all the other ones I'm sending out.
Okay. Is that 5 by the next 2 weeks or 5 per week or what?
5 so it'll be 10 total.
Okay.
But I have been sending out a whole lot more than 5, just 5 to really good jobs.
Yeah. And you're tailoring them all, right?
Right.
Yeah. Good deal. That's perfect. All right. Brian and then Rachel.
Sure, yeah. Send out 3 recommendations per week, and then I start my SPHR certification class on Monday. So focus on that.
What was it? The SP?
SPHR, senior HR certification. Yeah.
All right. And Rachel, what can we hold you accountable for?
So as I'm transitioning, I'm finding myself not really having a schedule or routine. So I keep saying that I'm going to create one. So that is one thing, create a schedule routine for my day, because it varies just depending on what's going on. And 2, be more intentional with my job application. So instead of just applying, to just throwing my resume out there and see who catches it, kind of looking for that right company and taking the advice and, researching, looking for recruiters and maybe applying it that way. So the goal is I'm going to do like Christine and try to send out 5 intentional job applications like each week.
Excellent. Excellent. It takes a little bit of time to tailor it. That's important.
It does.
The spray and pray method has never been one that has worked. You might get a couple interviews out of 100. Certainly better to get 2 to 5 out of 10 that you really worked hard. Yeah, it takes more work, but you're going to get much more benefit. All right, we only got a minute left. I want to touch on it. Advertisement hasn't come out yet, but you can be expecting it. We will be advertising it on the 22nd of February. We're going to have a webinar. It's the first of what we're trying to do this year, is a webinar every month focusing in on topics. And if you have a topic that you're interested in us covering, let us know. But this one is about burnout. With the pace that you guys have been going through in the military, the long days, the weekends, missing the family, we need to talk to somebody who's really been studying burnout. And I've connected with a young lady last fall, and we've been talking. So we're going to talk about burnout and the key pieces of, if you're in it, how do I get back out of it? How do I deal with this? And 2 is, if you're not in it, how do you stay out of it? So it's going to be really good. Matt, anything else you want to touch on?
How many San Antonio people do we have in the local area? I think we have none. Oh, yeah, Dave. Joe. We had the first poker and pool tournament Sunday at Bananas. So hope to see you there.
Yeah, if you can make it.
Yep, fundraiser.
All right. Well, hey, great to have y'all here. Like I said, Rachel, great to have you first time. Looking forward to seeing you longer term. Joe and Turdell, great to have you back. Appreciate that. Thanks for focusing in on your transition, right? Doesn't have to be retirement, your transition. You get out of it what you're going to put into it. And the fact that you're here is showing that you're looking to be accountable. You're looking to take steps. You're being intentional. And congratulations. So now we're at the top of the hour. That's what we promised to get out at. So you guys have a couple great weeks. If anybody needs to sit, talk anything afterwards, to stay and Matt and I can talk for a few minutes. And Brian, thanks again. You got a lot of requests in the chat for that spreadsheet.
Have a good day, guys.
Got it. No problem.
It's a great spreadsheet, Brian. Thank you.
Sure.
Great day.
Brian, where's my spreadsheet?
It's coming. It's coming, man.
Thank
It's
you.
coming. It's rainy here, so I'm sad, but it'll be 75. I'll be fine. Thanks.
There you go. Guys, I'll have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
I don't know if you saw, Mike McKinney is back in on LinkedIn, or through some emails that he's been sending us, back in with Mike's duffel bag. And he sent out a couple emails in the last week. He's pulling some stuff together. So I think he's back into the game. So we'll see where it goes if they end up coming or not today.
So I just switched Garrett to the 11:30 entrepreneurs group.
Okay.
Okay.
When you say you did that, you switched him in Keep, or you're working?
I thought I did, but I'll ask Anne Marie to double check it.
Okay. I noticed this. We got to go through. I noticed this morning that who was it? Let me just look real quick on an email. Carrie Chason. As I was looking through Keep in between meetings, there's nothing in there that says we've sent his application. We've continued to send him invites to the meeting. He's in the automation, but I think somehow we missed. So I'm sending, you'll see it in my summary note of meetings today, to Anne Marie, of we need to look at Carrie and get that application to him. I don't think he's got it. So, but we need her to keep going through these guys and make sure if they don't have an application, and why not yet?
So I will take, this is before I learned how to hit that button and a click. Okay. And I know how to do that. All right. I just did it for Rachel. Since she was nice.
I found if somebody's been in the system, and I did this last week, and then I went and put them in the automation, it puts them in where they're at forward, but it doesn't go backwards and get the things they missed.
Which is something to bring up with Anne Marie on Monday. That's
why you and I probably can't do it yet. We're not smart enough.
We're not smart enough, but we'll get there.
That's why I'm putting her on the email, as we need you to work Carrie and get him the application. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
So I got the note from the first group when I sent out notes that Pat Lee was busy with work this morning.
She's working good.
Her husband has surgery Thursday, so she has to take some time off. So she's catching up early this week. So she's working.
Okay.
And Billy Bodifort, he said he sent you a note. He has surgery today.
Yes, he did.
So the only one I don't know about, Deandra Du. Do you remember which group Deandra Du went to? Because we have not realigned her in Keep. He was in a Thursday group last time.
Give me 1 second. Come on in, Pete. Yeah. Okay.
So if you have a note at all, and
I'll take care of it. All right.
If you would look, just let me know, and I'll get her realigned in our spreadsheet.
I'll put info in the notes. Okay.
No, just tell me 11:30. Don't make me search for it.
All right. Bye.
Thanks.